System will notify you once you begin your broadcast. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, good morning to everyone. We are going to start today's session. So in today's session, we're going to start with a selective import of metadata. But before that, I'll just try to recap what is BODS, and then until now what we have covered topics in the BODS, because we haven't taken classes for last 4 working days. So I continue to take class from today. So in the last session, or in the previous week, we started with what is BODS. So there are 2 important components in BODS. One is the job server, and the second one is the repository. So job server is used to transfer data, and the repository is a collection of metadata. Job server we create in Server Manager, and repository at the repository manager. We associate job to the repository in the Server Manager. We register the repository, and the developer logs into Data Services Workbench to create ETL flows. We have one more UI called Designer. In BODS there are 2 user interfaces. One is the Designer, and the second one is the Workbench. So in the Workbench, we have seen how to use query transform, how we can use merge, how to use case transform, how to use data cleanse, how to use join inside a query, how to filter data. So these are the different exercises we have seen until the last week. A query is to select required columns, you can filter data, you can join. The case transform is used to send data to different target tables based on a case expression. Merge transform, we can merge or combine data coming from different sources. But we need to have the same structure. Data type and length should be same in order merge to execute. Data quality, using data cleanse transform. To see the quality of data, we can use data cleanse transform. To filter unwanted characteristics, control chars, single quotes, double quotes, special characteristics, using data cleanse transform. So today we are going to see an exercise on how we can do a selective import of metadata. So first of all, what is the use of selective import of metadata? Let us see this. Let us see how to use selective import of metadata. First, I'll log into the system. So what is selective import of metadata? So here we have the source system, which is ECC system. Here we have the source system, which is ECC. excuse me. So here we have BODS and then the target, which is HANA. So until now, this was the procedure we're creating for the ETL flow. Until now, what we're doing here is we have ECC table, and then we're importing this table to BODS repository. Inside the repository, you have this table. So based on this table, I'm creating a template table. And based on the template table, we're creating the table in HANA. The ECC, you import the table structure to BODS repository. Based on the structure available in repository, I'm creating this table in HANA. So what is template table? Template table is a table. Template table is a table that is created in runtime. The template table is a table that's created in runtime based on the source table. So based on the source table, a template table is created. So now my requirement here is, without using these template tables, we need to directly import the table from ECC to HANA. We need to directly import the table from ECC to HANA system. So to do this, what we have to do is selective import of metadata. So directly we create a connection using a data store to ECC. We create a connection using a data store to ECC. We will use these data stores inside HANA. I'm going to use these data stores inside the HANA system. I'm going to use this connection to import to HANA. So I'm not going to import to repository now. So without importing to repository, I can directly import to HANA. This is known as selective import of metadata. So we are importing the metadata, data about data, into HANA directly without maintaining this table in the repository. Based on this table, I'm not going to create in HANA, but directly from ECC, I'm going to import to HANA. So when will we use this? In which scenario will we import directly from ECC to HANA? And when do you import to repository? So sometimes you get these errors. Incompatible data types, especially for date. When you import this date related tables into the BODS repository, because the data types in MS SQL are different. Whatever the data types that we have in MS SQL are different to that of the data types that we have in HANA. So whenever you're trying to import tables, it inherits the MS SQL data types. So when you import a table from here, from ECC to MS SQL, Because the table is being stored in the MS SQL repository, it inherits the MS SQL data types. So instead, I import to the repository. I'll directly import from ECC to HANA. So let me show you this option. Click Start. Let's log into HANA Studio. Let us log into HANA Studio. So let me log into system. Log into the system. So here I'll click File, click Import, click Import, and here you have, you see here we have a selective import of metadata. Selective import of metadata. Select this option to import a selected table definitions from SAP ERP source system using SAP Business Objects Data Services into SAP HANA database. So what does it say here is import selected table definitions. The source is ERP using the data services, and finally table is available in HANA database. So what is the advantage? The advantage is ECC and HANA has better data types integration than ECC with MS SQL. So when you have this problem of, when you have an issue of data types, incompatible data types, then directly we can import tables to HANA system. Only the tables, the metadata. Data would not be available. Using this option, we can only import metadata. So once we import this ECC table using selective import of metadata to HANA, the table is available here. Table is available in HANA. Now, how do I get this table to BODS? Again, I'll import using data store. So using data store that is pointing to HANA, I'm going to import this table. We're going to import this table to the repository. So once we import to HANA, and from HANA again we have to import to repository. And this table also ECC to BODS. So here you have the source structure, you have target structure. So two structures we maintain in the repository. So in the first case we only maintain one structure, that is only source. And based on template table I can create the table in HANA. But here we're importing to HANA. From HANA we are importing back to data services. From ECC we're importing back to data services. And in data services, what we can do inside data services, I can, now we have two tables. One table from source and one table for target. Here we can create a query transform. So using a query transform, I can map all the columns inside the table. Inside the ETL flow, I can map all these columns and finally execute the job. So once we execute the job, then the data from ECC is transferred to HANA. So step number 1 is to import table from ECC to HANA using selective import of metadata. Step number 2 is to import table from HANA to BODS repository. Step number 3, import ECC table to BODS repository. Step number 4, map the columns to the table as columns from the tables. Step number 5 is to execute the job. So this exercise we do it in Data Services Designer. We'll do this exercise as the Data Services Designer. So we'll also see the designer, the how we have to use the UI, user interface for designer. So instead of logging to Workbench, I log into the designer. So let us click Start, click All Program, click Data Services Designer. It's trying to open this application. I think license is expired. Just give me 1 second, please. Just give me 1 second. Just give me 2 to 3 minutes, please. Just give me 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, so we continue this. So I'll click on Start, click All Programs, and click on Data Services 4.2, and click on the Data Services Designer. So once you click on the designer, we have to give the username and password. Best in the password is welcome123. Click log on. Let's log into the repository. Double click on the repository and give the password. So here we're logging into the repository best. I'll double click on the repository and provide the password W capital welcome123 and click OK and click continue. So now we're logging into the designer. We're logging into the designer. So once we log into the designer, so what is the first thing that we have to do here is, so we are now in the designer. So in the designer, first thing is to create a project. To create a project. So let us go to the designer. So here you see click new, provide the project name, click create. So I created a project. Right click on the project, click new batch job. So we're creating a job just like a job in the workbench. Here first we are creating a job. There the job is the last step, but here creation of the job is the first step. So creation of job, inside the job, so this is known as tools palette area. In the palette area, click on the design, click on the data flow. So this is the data flow, and click on the work area. So in the data flow, I'm creating a new data flow. A data flow is where I'm going to create the ETL flow. So once I double click on this data flow, inside the data flow, we'll define the ETL process. So now we need to get the table from ECC. So in order to get the table from ECC, I'll right click on the free space. So this is known as the data store area. So this is the data store area, and the repository is best, and this is also known as local object library. Local repositories are also known as local object libraries. Right click on the free space, click new, and provide the data store name. So data store name is ZECC, and data store type is SAP applications, and database server name. So click start, click SAP logon, click start, click SAP logon. I'm going to connect to the ECC. Right click on ECC, click properties, provide the application server name for the ECC system, provide the instance number. So here we need to give the instance number. We'll maximize this. So here you have this instance number. Instance number is 71. Client is 800. Username is best. And password is wcapitalwelcome123. Now the data store is ZECC SAP application server name, username, password, and in here you have to provide the client and the system number, which is 71. Click apply, and click OK. So now here you see ZECC data store is created. So once this data store called ZECC is created, expand this data stores. Expand the data store. Right click on the table. And click import by name. Please say I'm just importing this table first to here. So I think I'll also show you, we'll do a step-by-step process. So instead of doing the last step first, we'll follow the sequence. So in the sequence, the first order is ECC, BODS, and HANA. First one, import the ECC table to the HANA system. So we have the table, we created the data store. So this table, using this data store, import to HANA. So this is step number 1. So I log into HANA Studio. So in order to import, I need to log into HANA. So click Start, click All Program, click SAP HANA folder, and click on SAP HANA Studio. Click on HANA Studio. So I log into I click log on. Log into the system. I'll click File, click Import, click Select to import of metadata, click Next. I'll select the instance, click Next. So we're selecting the target system. Select to import of metadata, select the target system. Select the target system where you want to import the table. So what is the data store we created? We created ZECC. We'll go to HANA Studio. I'll try to select ZECC from here. Let's see where is ZECC. ZECC. So here we have ZECC. Select this ZECC. Type of objects to import. So we would like to import tables. Click Next. So it's asking us which table do you want to import. So in the HANA Studio, it's asking us which table, TSPA. Click Search, TSPA. I'm searching this table. We would like to import this table. Select this table and click Add. So now we have the table over here. So these are the columns inside the table. So this table you want to import to which schema? It's asking us which schema you would like to import. So I would like to import to best schema. I'm just trying to see the schema best. We're selecting the best schema and click next. So this is the system HDB. The selected schema is best. So this is the table name and these are the column names. Click next. Source connection is ZECC. So this is the connection. So this is the ECC connection. This is the connection in the BODS ZECC. Using this I'm connecting to ECC. HANA is connecting to this connection. So this is the connection name, system. One object will be created in the target schema best and click finish. So once we click finish, here we see selective import of metadata. Imported successfully. So once you import it successfully, just click window, reset perspective. And here you need to click on import. Click import and click on catalog. Click on the catalog. It's not import, click on the catalog. And then let's go to best schema. Click on the best schema. Expand the best schema. Expand tables. Now we should find this table TSPA. We should find this table TSPA. Right click on this table and open data preview. This table is already imported, that's why we see data. Usually this table does not contain data once you import. So this table does not contain, I think it's already imported previously. So let us check what is the import date. On 27th March it is imported, but today is April 19th. So this is the old table that has already been imported. So it has overwritten the table, but this is already imported table. But here you see completed successfully. So create a column table. Create a column table with best schema, TSPA, MNDT, SPRAS with the primary key. So this is the table it created. So using this SQL statement, it has created this table. Now you see this table is empty. It doesn't have data, only the metadata gets imported. Some other participants have done this exercise. That's why we have data. I deleted the data. So usually you only see the table importing. So now this table called TSPA is available in HANA. TSPA is available in HANA system. We need to import TSPA back to BODS. We need to import TSPA back to BODS. In order to import from HANA to BODS, in here we have ZECC. In a similar fashion, we need to have one more data store, ZHANA, data store type database, database SAP HANA, database version, database server name, port number, username, password. Click apply and click OK. So we have ZECC, ZHANA. ZHANA is the target system. Now I'll double click on ZHANA. It's processing the request. It's taking time. Okay, so here you see in the ZHANA, all this is the metadata inside ZHANA table. So what I'm going to do now, I'll right click on the table, I'll right click on the data store and click import by name. Give the table name. The table that is created is TSPA in HANA. So in the designer, I'll enter this table TSPA, click import. So once you click import, expand the tables folder, you have the table over here. Now you see when I right click on the table and view data, there is no data in the table, only the structure of the table or the metadata. So here you only see the metadata. There is no data inside the table. So now we imported the metadata. We imported the table. So the next step is, once the table is imported, we need to start creating the data flow. So we'll import the table from source, we'll import the table from target, and create the data stores, and create the data flow. So I'll select this table, drag and drop onto the work area. I'll make this table as a target table. Because it does not contain data, we have to load data to the table. And I'll go to the ECC, ZECC, In ECC also there is no table. I'll right click on the tables, select import by name. The table name is TSPA and click import. So once we import, the table from ECC is in BODS repository. Let's select this table and drag and drop into the work area. So here we have ECC table and here we have HANA table. So here you have ECC and HANA table. So I'll click on the query transform, click on the query transform, click on the work area, link ECC table to query and query table to HANA and query to HANA. So here we don't have data, here we have data. So let's click close, click save. So click OK. Once you click OK, right click on the job, click execute and click OK. So once you click OK, the job is being executed. It says there is some error here. It says, I think we haven't done the mapping. So let's double click on query. We haven't done the mapping over here, that's why the error occurred. So this is the source table and this is the target table. We need to map both of them. Double click on query, select the column, drag and drop inside the schema out. So this is schema in and this is schema out. So now the mapping, so when the mapping is done, you see this blue color highlighting pointing to the right hand side. I'll select this and drag and drop to the, click back, click save all, click OK. Click save all. Now let us click execute. Let's execute and click OK. So finally, job is completed successfully. Now we can go back to HANA. Previously we only imported the table. Now once we refresh here, we can see data inside the table. So when do we go for this approach? When you have incompatible data types mismatch from source to target. Especially when you import to MS SQL, the data types are different. So when you get this data type difference, the other way is you can import those tables in HANA directly using selective import of metadata. So again I will repeat the steps. First step is to import the ECC table to HANA using BODS data store, and then import back from HANA to repository, import from ECC to repository, map the columns, save the job and execute the job. So this we have done in the designer. Any questions? So in HANA, whenever you have the data type mismatch, then this is the alternative way to import tables directly to HANA. So you can import tables to HANA using selective import of metadata, or directly you can create a table using template table. But here we are not using template tables. We're directly importing the table to HANA, physical table. They're doing this on the physical table. Okay, then thank you everyone. We'll see you in tomorrow's session. Same time. Thank you. Good night and good morning to everyone. Thank you.